Oh, hey guys, what is up? It's me, Ashley. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope all is well in your world. Today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to find a therapist near you. This is actually a question that I get asked a lot, and I feel like there's a lot of people that if you do get to a point where you're like, okay, maybe I do need to go talk to somebody, maybe I could benefit from seeing a therapist. I think there's a lot of people that are just like, where do I even start? I think the process can be really intimidating. So if you guys are curious what I have to say, what tips and tricks I have, a fellow counselor myself, then stay tuned. All right, guys, let's get into this video. I know you guys are just so excited. You're so anxious on the edge of your seat to see what do I have to say. So let me start off by saying that I have been to counseling myself. I feel like in this profession, if you've never been yourself, I feel like you're kind of a hypocrite. I'm gonna say it, I said it, it's said. It's true. I feel like if you're providing services to someone else, but you've never took a step back and worked on yourself, what are you doing? So me personally, I have gone to counseling before. It's a process that I don't think I was expecting it to be as difficult as it was. It honestly was kind of intimidating. And I feel like it was a good thing for me to go through that experience of just like initially just finding a counselor, just even taking that step. I'm glad that I went through that process on my own because I feel like I have a lot more understanding for my clients. I feel like it's good to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. You know, obviously I can't share every experience with my clients. You know, we're two different people, two different lives. But I think it is good to at least have some kind of understanding and empathy towards other people and their experiences and what they're going through. So for me personally, I was at a point in my life where I felt like I really could benefit from talking to somebody professionally. I feel like I did a lot of the work on my own, or at least as much work as I thought I could do. And I think that's what a lot of people do. I think a lot of people will try to work stuff out on their own, and then they kind of get to a point where, okay, maybe this isn't working. And so it's like, okay, then you go see a professional, which me being on the other end of it, I realize now that that's not always a good thing. I don't think it hurts to go see somebody. But I think that's what a lot of people do. That's just the reality, is counseling is a last resort for a lot of people. But so I went through the process. I tried to find somebody. It took a while. But luckily I was able to find somebody that I really liked, and I really think that I got the most out of that experience. And that is my goal for you guys as well, is if you do take that step and you decide to go seek somebody out, that you do get the best experience out of it. Especially if you're paying somebody money, like, hello, don't you want to get your money's worth? So I want to tell you guys about an amazing resource that I use and I've also provided to clients as well. It's called psychologytoday.com. So one of the great things that I love about the Psychology Today website is that it's very user-friendly. I think that's why I like to use it, why I like to recommend it to other people, is I feel like it's very straightforward. You go in, you type in your information, and then there's a bunch of filters that you can go through and filter to try to find a therapist that really meets your specific needs. So I have the website pulled up on my phone right now, and I'll just give you guys some examples of some of the filters and things that you can search for. So age, maybe you are coming in, or maybe you're coming in for your child, or maybe you have an elderly parent. Whatever the age range is, you can put that in specifically. Ethnicity, do they specialize in African American, Asian, Hispanic, Latino? Are they bilingual? These are all important things to know depending on who you are and what your needs are. Sexuality, do you identify as heterosexual, homosexual, non-binary? There's so many options within that. And then language, which I mentioned. Faith, are you religious? Are you spiritual? Also price, do they offer a sliding scale, which essentially means depending on your income or what you can afford, are they willing to work with you on the price? There's also an option in here for insurance. So if you have health insurance, you can put in your provider and you can see who comes up in your area. So I will say it's great that they have all these filters. The only downside is if you put in too many filters, you may not have a lot of options. So my recommendation is, say you're coming in for anxiety and that's kind of the main concern. But you also are a part of the LGBTQAI plus community. Maybe you find some therapists that deal with anxiety, but maybe they don't mention in their bio that they're affiliated with the LGBTQAI plus community. I think this would be a great time for you to reach out to them and just get more information. Whether you send them a text, an email, you call them via phone, I think that would be a great way for you to start the conversation and just ask them simply like, oh, hi, like I identify with this community. This is something that's really important to me. I notice it's not in your bio. Are you familiar with this population? Is this something that you would be willing to work with? I feel like it's very important to have open and honest conversations up front. Just because you want to like find somebody that you like, find somebody that you feel comfortable with, find somebody that's really going to cater to your specific needs. So hopefully at this point you have found a counselor that you feel could really help you out and somebody that you could really benefit from. So really the next step is just to start going to counseling and see how it is, how everything pans out. My suggestion to you is to really try to take it serious and put in the work that's needed to see change. Coming from a counselor's perspective, I can work with somebody all day long. I can suggest every intervention under the sun, but the reality is if they aren't willing to put in the work, then they're not going to see results. I can't force anybody to change. So I think if you're somebody that's really serious about counseling and you're going with hopes of change and you're really hoping to get something out of the experience, I hope that you just try your best. I mean, obviously you don't have to completely open up right away. I know that's really hard to do, especially if you're telling a counselor stuff that you don't tell anybody. I know it's very hard to be vulnerable in front of a stranger, but I hope that you just do your best. Especially if you're paying for these services, like, hello, you want to get your money's worth. My last tip or suggestion, I would say, and this is something that I feel really passionate about, is just to remind you guys that you have a voice in the session. When I say you have a voice, I'm not saying that it's okay to be rude or disrespectful to somebody else. I definitely think that it's not what you say, but it's how you say it. So maybe you feel like your counselor isn't really listening to you. Maybe you feel like your counselor is kind of biased towards you. Maybe you feel like your counselor just isn't really understanding what you're saying. It is okay to speak up in a respectful way. I think it's important to have open and honest conversations, not only with people in your life, but also your counselor. Because really at the end of the day, the goal is to make sure that there's mutual understanding. If you guys are on different pages, if you guys are maybe not on the same page, or I just said that, different pages. If you guys are not having a mutual understanding, it's really hard to move forward. You know, if you feel this way, but your counselor thinks you feel this way, then there's a disconnect, right? And maybe the intervention or something that they suggest is not really going to resonate with you because you guys are on different pages. So it's okay to speak up. I think a lot of people think, how do I put this? Like essentially that you're like stuck. Like if you find a counselor, you're like stuck with them. Like you can't move around, you can't go find somebody else. That's not true. You know, I think the problem is a lot of people have bad experiences and they never go back, which I think is understandable, right? Like if you've had a bad experience, naturally it's going to deter you from seeking professional help again in the future. But just know that not every counselor out there is bad, just like any profession, right? Like there's good and there's bad everywhere you go. It's just finding somebody that resonates with you, somebody that you feel comfortable with. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching. I hope that I was able to give you guys some insight. Hopefully I made this very clear and straightforward. Hopefully I didn't ramble too much. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you soon. Bye.